answer the question, because I'm glad that they got in there and asked that. This is what everybody say when polygyny comes up. Well, you better be able to provide for them, this, that, and other. Can you, Elder or Dr. G? I'm sorry, I prefer Dr. G to speak on it, because they think if it's coming from a man, they've been so warped by this culture. Sister Dr. Murray, Dr. Gina, can you speak on that? Because that's the main thing comes up all the time.
Well, you hinted on it. I thought earlier today you hinted on it, where you had spoken about the mammonism, the worship of mammon. And essentially, look at how hypocritical these people are. They raised in a home where the mama worked and the mama put all the food on the table with the help of the oppressor or the help of the dominant male. They themselves plan on working and providing for themselves, et cetera, et cetera. And then the minute polygyny is being discussed, all of a sudden, he must provide really the most fantastical lifestyle, and she's responsible for nothing. So this whole idea that equates a man to the dollar, and he is only worth as much as the number of Federal Reserve notes that he has in his pocket at any given time, this is idolatry. And so let's take that off the table. Now, in a tribal situation, if he were to give you seeds for barley and secure a piece of land where you weren't being attacked by enemy tribes, and he was to put the tools in your hand and make it so that you had clothes on your back and you weren't out there in the field naked, then he had provided for you. Doesn't mean that you don't have to, dig in the ground, that you don't have to plant the barley seeds, that you don't have to get out there and reap the harvest and thresh the harvest and do all and grind it up with stone and make the flour. So this whole concept of providing for has gotten really silly.
Mammonism, mammonistic worship, yeah.
Because he owns you, and therefore he owns your labor if you're a woman. And so direction, as long as he gives you freedom from being attacked by enemy tribes, in other words, he gives you a safe place to conduct commerce. He gives you a safe place to perform some sort of skill that allows you to contribute to the overall household, and the overall household feeds you. So food, clothing, duty of marriage.
And real fast, I'm sorry to interrupt, and real talk, dude. Most of these men, only thing they're providing are the labor tickets or the dollars. They're not providing protection from this enemy, this covert, deceiving, spiritual enemy that's invading that's in all of our houses. You know what I'm saying? So really, these men you're married to, who fighting against this, who are subject to some of these silly assemblies out here that really aren't teaching the word, they're not providing for you.
According to the system in Torah, which we subscribe to, every male would have an inheritance of land, and that land would be owned free and clear, and he would have the means from that land to build shelter, to make clothing, for his family to be able to do those things. And so this whole concept of him providing for you is still rooted in a non-tribal understanding.
Going into this, you got to know, even on that video I did yesterday, I was trying to show y'all, and even myself, one of the big mysteries of this beast system is the financial structure and capitalism. And the Bible is not based on capitalism. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to ask them your question. It says, are you saying are you saying that scripturally the husband did not provide financially for the wives? Please provide scriptural support for this premise. Okay.
So let's stop and think about it. To the person who wrote the question.
Okay.
you're dumbing it down. You're actually cheapening yourself, sister, if you're doing that, because he is to provide up to and including his life for his wife. So of course, anything that he has, he is to be willing to sacrifice for the life of his wife. Now, but that means this is a wife, and a wife has a definition. A wife has a function. So the question is, are you assimilated to him? Are you in submission to him such that you are like an extension of his own body? Because the man, he's going to take care of his own body. There's not going to be any doubt about him providing for his own body. When he gets hungry, he eats. Unless he's fasting, for some purpose, he eats. And so all of this anxiety and this hand-wringing about whether he's going to provide for his body is rooted in unrighteousness and wickedness around whether you're going to try to persist with your own separate and distinct agenda, and then you want him to finance that. So he's going to provide for himself. He's going to die for himself. But he is not going to provide in the abstract, in the absence of submission to him, to himself. And so this is what we have to say. There won't be any questions about providing if we get rid of the two-ness. The two-ness is only one. It's himself and his household. And if you have doubts about a man's willingness to sacrifice his life for you, I wouldn't even question about, if you're dealing with will he provide for you, my question is, will he give his life for you? Okay, because if you're worrying about dollars, your concern is misplaced, is what we're saying.
And her concern is rooted in mammonism worship, and it's a mystery. A lot of y'all do not even realize, like, money, when you function on this biblical level, money is not even an issue.
No, because and if she says, if she mentioned the word biblical references, you would have to go back and look at the whole contextual culture.
Hallelujah.
And so a man who takes a wife would already have received an inheritance. Remember, Moshe through Joshua gave inheritance to all of the tribes, and that was land. And as a result, no man who was 20 and above was able to, after receiving his inheritance, he was trained by his father to use the land in a way that would provide and take care of all of that was his. And so this whole concept of money and so forth is an actual false attempt to try to clip what and who the Most High said this man is. Granted, this man probably should learn what true tribalism is.
Yes, we recommend that.
And then if his father's not in the picture, he should then have someone who is a representative of his father, so he can learn, when I get this piece of land, how to survive on this piece of land without tying into, the Rome or the whole system.
So we're certainly not advocating. So you don't have to police all men. The only thing you have to police is your private parts. We're on a family show. You have to police your private parts, and you should have a patriarch that helps you do that. In other words, you shouldn't have a concern for what all men are doing. You should have a concern for who you allow to access the machinery. And so you don't have to worry about wicked men as long as you're not going to get into bed with one of them.
Oh man.
So all of this takes care of itself, and in the request for biblical references, let me just touch on that, because I see a lot of that in a lot of these Hebrew debates and Hebrew discussions where we're grabbing scriptures as some sort of proof of something.
Yeah, out of context and everything else.
If you are attempting to talk about Torah and you haven't gotten into a tribal context, you close the book and you back away from the book.
You put the book down.
You are not qualified to discuss the book until you get there.